The following workflow illustrates how to set up an Icon robotic instrument by method of resection. For this example, I'm using a Robot 50 total station which has been paired with a CC66 controller. This controller has Icon Build software version 2.1 installed. I've already opened up the Icon Build software, which is we're at the home screen now. As you can see, I've already set up a project, and I've actually already imported data into this project, which includes the control points. An explanation of this process is provided in another workflow entitled Project Setup and Data Import. So the first step is to set up a job for the day. Jobs can be selected from the data menu. Okay, at the bottom left of screen is a green plus to create a new job. We need to enter a job name. Okay, so my job name is entered. There's also a description field, which I'm going to leave blank. I'm just going to select data on the left hand side. As you can see, the control data is already readily available to me. I'm going to select the green tick at the bottom right of screen. So you can now see that the project is still demo resect, but we now have a job which is today's date. The application that we're going to use to conduct our resection is called Setup. There are several different setup methods available on the Icon Build software. The method we're going to use today is called Anywhere. Looking at the image, you can see that we can use a combination of both prisms, observations, and retro targets. It's now time to level up the instrument, and you can see that my total station has already been leveled. Select Setup Instrument on the left. Now we'll enter a station name for our resection. Instrument height is only important if the coords of the resection are going to be converted into a permanent mark. This is not the case for station 101, so height will be set to 0. I'm also going to leave the Create Control Station Point box unchecked. And you can see my reflector height is currently set to 2 meters. I'm going to select the Select Point option. Just been prompted with an error message that says no data loaded. Now we know the control points are in there, so I'm just going to select the Map View Manager. And you can see here that our control file is loaded, however it's currently switched off. Just going to turn it on. And then I'm going to select the green tick at the bottom right of screen. So now we can see our 4 control points in the file. As you can see, one of the control points is much lower than the other 3. That's because 3 of my control points, specifically A, B and E, are retro targets, while control point D is a mark on the floor. Okay, so for the first point that we're going to observe is control point A. Now this is a retro target, so I need to change from Prism to a retro target, and I do so by selecting the option at the center at top of screen. Where it says Prism type, I'm going to select the option. I'm going to change it to reflectorless. Now reflectorless requires manual aiming, and it also, generally speaking, has a reflector height of 0. The Icon Build software is defaulted to 0 here, and it'll also have defaulted to manual aiming. I'm just going to select measure mode here and select single manual. I'm also going to turn the laser pointer on. This can be useful when measuring retro targets. So now I've aimed at the target, I'm just going to select measure and record. Okay, As you can see, we've now measured to control point A. However, a resection requires at least 2 points to determine the position of the total station. So the next retro target we're going to shoot will be control point B. So I've selected control point B on the screen. The next step is to sight to that retro target. Once you have accurately sighted to B, select measure and record. I mentioned before that a minimum of 2 targets are required for a resection. However, it is always recommended to use at least 3. This will greatly improve the reliability of the resected residuals and guarantee that no mistakes have been made. It is also recommended to always include at least one prism measurement when setting up a total station. This measurement should be accurate for height, and it serves as a check on the manually aimed observations. So the prism observation I'm going to take will be to control point D. As you can see, because I had 2 control points together, when I selected it, it asked me to confirm which point I wanted to shoot to. I'll select D. Now I need to switch from reflectorless mode to a prism. Generally speaking, when doing a resection with a Robot 50, you'll be using an MPR 122 prism. And the pole height for me at the moment is set to 2 meters. Also going to change from manual aiming now by selecting the second icon from the left on the top of screen, and change measurement mode to single auto. I'm now going to select the prism box at the center top of screen again, select move and search, and I'm just going to get it to search to the left and find our prism. Total station is now locked onto the prism. I'm going to select measure and record. At the top of screen, it immediately gives us a prompt to say that the calculated station is within tolerance, and to select additional points or accept and set. Before I accept the total station, I'm going to select the green assessment symbol at the bottom left of screen. This screen shows the horizontal and vertical residuals of each mark in the resection, and it serves as an indicator on the quality of the measurements that we've just taken. Now, as you can see here, residuals are pretty good. We have 1 mm in position, 0 mm height for control point A, 1 mm position, 0 mm height for control point B, and 1 mm position and 1 mm height error for control point D. Now I would recommend, given that control point D was a prism observation, to always leave the height component switched on for your prism obs. Okay, I'm happy with these residuals, so I'm going to select the green tick at the bottom right of screen. Then I'm going to select the green tick at the bottom center of screen to save our resection. The build software has prompted me to let me know that the station setup is finished and the new station coordinates and orientation will be saved. A good final step, particularly if you're in doubt as to whether or not you've done your resection correctly, is to stake out one of the control points that we've just used as a double check that everything is set up correctly. Just going to stake out control point D. I'm just going to change my measure mode continuous with lock so that it continues to shoot the target all the time. I'm just going to press start at the bottom right of screen. And now we've been taken to a stakeout screen which shows the residuals on the mark. You can see that we've got 0 mm horizontal and 2 mm vertical. This just serves as a sanity check to make sure that our resection has been completed successfully, which it has. Okay, I'm just going to press the home button because I don't wish to record that observation. And this concludes the tutorial on conducting a resection using a Robot 50 total station and Icon build software.